chart. And first things first, I'm going to go to the monthly candles because we have a monthly close tonight. And right now, it's looking like a rejection, isn't it? It's looking like a rejection from the all-time high. The volume is basically on average with the last 3 months, slightly above average 4 and 5 months prior. We've got quite a lot of volume coming down here, selling pressure. What does that mean? And the price is basically closing within the previous month candle. Technically, it's an inside candle of the previous month, technically. It is closing in the lower half of the previous month, potentially, assuming that it closed where we closed today now. But it's always possible to get an end of daily close pump. And so naturally, we have to see how this candle closes in about 3 hours. You see that here on the ticker, it says 3 hours. So this candle closing in 3 hours, we have to see how it closes. It's hard to know exactly what it means until we get that final close. I have talked about the closes in the past, and effectively I think that a close above this red wick on the month of December 24, I think a close like that would be okay. I think that would be quite a bullish close, even though in the context of this current month it's closing lower than the previous, potentially than the previous month high, than the 50% mark of this green month body. So in that sense, it's bearish. So it's a bearish candle. Bears are in control. It's a swing failure of the all-time highs, or rather a failed auction. Or in this candle, it's a swing failure. But potentially you've got a higher low forming like that and closing above this red candle horizontal level, which is the previous all-time high. For me, it suggests that you've got selling pressure, you've got bears in control, but they failed to take it below the initial previous all-time high. I would consider that bullish, even though we've got a clear rejection of the all-time high there with volume. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now in Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the 2-month candle. Now, this one also closes in just under 3 hours. This one is slightly more bearish than the monthly candle. If it closes like this, it's bearish in the sense that, again, it's a swing failure of the previous month high. But it is a green candle. That means bulls are in control. It is increasing volume. That is healthy. Increasing volume, increasing prices. But when you get an increase in volume at the all-time high, such a big selling tail, you've got the bulls in control of that candle, and then basically the bulls have only managed to take it up maybe $1,000. It's not a convincing bull victory, but at the same time, you have increasing volume, which is bullish. And even though it's got such a large selling tail, it's closing above the 2 monthly close, open rather. And so it is possible the next month actually still goes up. Next candle goes up. It is possible, and that's kind of probably the most likely scenario. Here you can see the 3-month candle. We've got a month left, and we're coming back to test lower levels, but really this is the candle that matters, the monthly candle. Could it just sell off now and dump? Yeah, it always could, you know, it could. It's more likely to go up before it comes down, but it could. And this is the weekly candle. Now, this one, I would argue, is pretty miserably bearish because you're closing, assuming it closes here, it's closing lower than the previous week low. But again, we're potentially closing above this pivot high, above some kind of SR horizontal flip that exists on that previous all-time high. And actually, when you look at the weekly time frame, you are noticing a pattern the pattern is you have decreasing prices, decreasing volume. I would consider that to be weak sell pressure. So bullish sell pressure in the sense that the volume is decreasing and it's not a convincing sell. It's not increasing volume where you got more and more people selling, trying to get out. It's less and less people selling as the price drops. So I would actually consider that bullish, not bearish. And so we have to see how the weekly closes. It would be nice actually if we get a little end of week rally to close above maybe the previous week low, and then we'd have a really surely we'd have a quite bullish weekly close. Right now it's still bearish in the sense that it's a lower close, so you might need a week or two for this to play out before Bitcoin decides to do what it needs to do next. But again, for me, as long as we are above this pivot high with a horizontal SR flip, then I would think, or I would imagine that this goes up first rather than down. Let's have a look at the daily chart. And yesterday was 2 days ago, it got pretty high sell pressure. That was on Friday. It was a bearish engulfing, closed lower. Yesterday we have a little daily swing failure, and now we're getting a little kind of consolidation. It kind of looks bearish, right? It kind of looks a little bit bearish. We haven't got much buy pressure right now. We've got a big sell drop. But let's see how we close. Yeah, let's see how we close. That's really important. The close is really important. It's just pretty low volume, isn't it? You can see the volume is really dropped off significantly. Yeah, pretty low volume. So after the Friday sell-off, there's not much volume at all, is there? All right. So I think that's the candles. We'll see. We'll come back and monitor it to see how the daily and the weekly and the monthly. But it's a really important close. You've got the weekly close, you've got the monthly close, you've got the 2 monthly close, and you've got the daily close. Got really important close, and you've got the 3-day close. And actually, looking at the 3-day candle, this is not a bad close. If we close higher than the previous 3-day candle, that's a really nice close. It means that Bitcoin has failed to close lower and could indicate into some kind of horizontal support level, could indicate some kind of reversal about to happen. All right. So that's kind of the candles on Bitcoin. And now I'm going to have a look at a little bit more detail. I'm going to first kind of calculate and consider the volume. I've got the lower range volume, got the higher range volume. And what I do every time, as I've always said, is I kind of redraw these volume levels to see if there are any significant changes. We've come down pretty lower into kind of this previous range here. So potentially we have to kind of expand the volume range a little bit to capture that data. And then if we capture it to there, we might as well capture it to there. And then basically we might as well catch the whole range. So I think the local range is now fixed at this higher point. Probably where it was to there to there. And then you've got the higher range, which is this one. And again, you see the point of control is in the higher of this local range. The value area low is slightly higher. The high volume node is still there. You got 2 highly volume nodes. You see that? This first one was completely washed. It kind of hit and bounced and then went down and cleared it. Kind of slightly back above it now, actually. So that's interesting to see whether we're trying to find some strength here and reflip this high volume node back into support. But ideally what you want for ideally what you want for bullish volume here is we want the point of control of this range, which is currently there, this thick red line. We want this to reprint lower down in this range. I think that would be really healthy, really bullish for Bitcoin, for the volume to go back into the lows of this higher range. So we've drawn out the volume levels as we do, and then what I want to do is just go over the higher time frame levels, because we have a new monthly candle. It's going to be red, and therefore we have new higher time frame levels, starting with the monthly. As you can see, I've already added it because I assumed that it would have been a red monthly. So that's good. I've already got that, and we've got this monthly below us. We go to the weeklies. We've got this weekly level there, this weekly level there. So we've got 3 weekly levels to contend with, for the price to contend with. And then we're looking at daily levels. And at the moment, the one that we're currently at, we're finding support, but it's getting really washed. Yeah, it's getting really washed, cleaned of liquidity, and we've clearly gone through it a couple of times. This current day, we've actually respecting it nicely. So it is actually acting as support, as you can see, on the current day's daily candle. So there is a potential for reversal here, as long as that daily level holds as support. It is holding a support now. It's washed through twice, but today it's holding a support. This one has just been completely washed, so I just ignore it. It was not respected at all. Then you got a new one there, and then you have a new one there, and anything over here, there, and then you got that weekly and daily there. So that's your daily levels, your weekly levels, your monthly levels. If you combine that with the volume, then you have these red lines, and as you can see, we're into some lines here. And then the only other thing I'm going to do is, let's see, let me do one other thing. I'm going to draw the volume from this pivot low here. Just, this is kind of like the uptrend volume. Slightly different value profile, value area profile. Yeah. So that value area low is actually a really good place for a long, and it's slightly above the daily level. So let me just consider that for a second. I'll do it accurately from that pivot low to the all-time high. And then the only other thing that I'm going to do is take it from this pivot low to the all-time high. And effectively what you have are all your liquidity lines. The only other things that I can add here would be some naked points of control and some single prints. So let me just do that now. I'm going to hide these and I'll bring them back. And you've got the single prints there. And to calculate the single prints, I need to go into the order flow. I'm going to have a look at Exo chart, and I'm going to have a look at the different profiles here that I have. Let me just refresh it, because every time I come back to Exo, it lags out. Let's start with the sessions. See if there's a big buying tail there, but are there any single prints in the sessions? Not that I can see. Let's go to the order flow. Oh, what's that? There was a single print, was there? Let's go to this chart. Selling tail, single prints. Single prints. That held this as support. I probably have it. I'm going to write it down anyway. I'll have to check. I'll have to check that. And then I'm going to look at the levels, the POCs. We've already hit yesterday's daily naked point of control. So above us, it's 117640. I think I have that. And if we zoom out a little bit, maybe we can capture more data or not. depending on how this loads. Let's give it a second. It's still loading. Right. So the next MPOC is 101,920. 101,920. I've got it already. This one is now gone. I'll clear that. And then only above us, the nearest one is, the only one actually above us is 117680. Yep, we have it. Oh, that CME gap looks like it's still there. We haven't filled it yet. I'm going to have a look at that on the Bitcoin chart of the CME chart. Let's have a look at that. This is the one, CME. So there's still a gap there, closed, and then it opened lower. And we closed lower. We closed at 108,265. Potentially we haven't, that's, yeah, 108,265. So 108,265. I'm going to mark that down. $108,265. Okay, so that's our CME. And then let's go back to the MPOCs. RH, alaikum salam. Long time no see. Where have you been? Let me have a look at the weekly naked points of control. Okay, slightly above us, 114,838. $114,800. And then we also have, what's that one? 114,800. And that's 117,800. Oh, you were stuck with some issues. Sorry about that. And let's have a look at the monthly to see where the monthly point of control will be, the naked monthly point of control. And obviously there's one below us, which I think I've already marked out. And the current point of control is basically 111,322. We have to wait for the monthly candle to close to see that. Okay, so we have the monthly there. So let me just now, once I've got the single prints, did I mark them out? This is clearly gone now. And that one, oh, deleted the wrong line. That one is gone. And 113,725. 113. Yep, I've got that. It's higher up. Don't need to mark that again. And we've got the CME as well. Okay. So I think we've got all the data for the updated. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the volume back. I'm going to higher time frame levels back. We have the single points, we have the naked points of control, and then we also have our fib levels. Okay. And effectively where you've got all these ginormous lines, you've got massive resistance, massive resistance. If we go back up there, look at those lines. And right now we're kind of trying to get back above this high volume node. We're trying to flip it back into support. We hit the lower high volume node. There might be a CME gap below us. We've bounced nicely off the 618, but we haven't gone down to test the value area low yet. But what I'm noticing is there's massive resistance from 116,800 through to 118,200. There's massive resistance there. And what would be interesting to see is if Bitcoin does go back up, and that would also be the golden pocket. It's a really crazy short, to be honest with you. If and when the price of Bitcoin does manage to get up there, that is a fuck off short, a motherfucking crazy short to be had. There's just so much confluence there for an easy rejection. Effectively, you're looking for some kind of lower high, and that's where you would see it. It might be front run because it's such a strong place to short, and then potentially you'd be seeing a head and shoulders, could be seeing a head and shoulders pattern here. Something to think about. I don't see us breaking up until we can break this kind of downward trend line, if I can draw it, which I usually can, but sometimes it's tricky. Which trend line do you take? Maybe this is first pivot there. So I think I want to see that trend line break. We've hit nicely the 6-1. I'd like us to lose it and reclaim it, personally. And we're kind of in this situation, aren't we? We kind of came to the 618. We bounced. See that? See that? Kind of marked it out. Look, we kind of came into the 618. I also have a long lower down if we into a lower 618 golden pocket into the value area low. It just depends where the price finds support, and we won't really know until we kind of break this out of trend line if and when support has been found. Yeah, so potentially we could go down. It might not go down all the way to there, because it is possible that when we go down to retest these lows, that you just get a higher low there and break out, and that's it. It's possible. Just for a slightly higher low, just to hit that 618 another time, and then pump to the moon. It's kind of food for thought right now with Bitcoin. We have this harmonic in play. Again, the pivot point is somewhere around Tuesday, and it doesn't have to go that low. You can just come to there, kind of wherever really, but this is the kind of area. Tuesday is the mark, Tuesday evening, to see how this kind of bottoms here, and then we have a chance to rally, pump all the way up to 118, potentially another $10,000 on Bitcoin. So I'm keeping an eye on this cipher to see how this kind of plays out, but we're in the right place, right time potentially for another big move. And if the move is more bullish, then it will just slice through the liquidity up above as if it was nothing. All right.